Hi everyone, I am Adam from Trade with Precision and welcome to Vantage Markets Inside the Chart. So let's start off looking at the dollar index and get a sense of what is going on here. So the first thing that we should talk about is from a much higher time frame. We had a really nice break out of this range for the dollar. The dollar was heading down towards sort of $95, then actually decided to produce a very strong bullish engulfing bar. It's come back and it's testing that $100 level again. Now, post Friday's jobs revisions, this is actually the week before last from NFP, we could see the market actually started to head lower. So if we go back down to the weekly, it does appear though as there's a little bit of weakness. We're still within the moving averages of the 50, the 20 and the 10, and although we did break the downtrend that we had previously and formed an uptrend on the daily, especially if you go see here, it does appear as though there is the possibility that we might, we're sitting at a fork in the road essentially for that dollar. Is that dollar going to continue strengthening now because it started this uptrend, or is it going to revert back to a downtrend which it had only recently just ended? So if we have a look at some of the others, I'm going to break ranks here and quickly have a look at the dollar yen. Dollar yen here currently looking as though it's very much bullish and wants to push a little bit higher on the daily. We've got dollar CAD, which had this very nice bullish divergence, changing its trend from going from a downtrend to sideways into an uptrend, and producing now with bullish momentum and with the 50, 20 and 10 in a bullish formation. It's also hinting at a fork in the road. Does it now want to head higher, or does it want to change the trend that it has just started and revert back to something else? We've got dollar Swissy doing almost exactly the same thing here. Nice downtrend, broke through this bear flag, now decided to go back up, and now it's in an uptrend, and we have bullish momentum. So again, it's sitting right at a point where it could decide to continue up or down. So we could see that there really is a fork in the road for the dollar this week. And a lot of these pairs here are hinting at the possibility of a stronger dollar this coming week. If we have a look at euro dollar, you can see we are in a downtrend. And again, it's interesting to me, should we continue to up here, break these previous highs, then I think we can assume, it's safe to assume that that dollar is going to continue to strengthen. But if we come back down here and we break the low here, it's really about that weekly candle. Which way are we going to go from this level of support? Again, looking at GBP, we have a look at this. We've got one of the cleanest downtrends at the moment in the majors. It's below that 50-period moving average. We've got the 50, 20, and 10 in a bearish formation. Nice bearish momentum, and it's at a really good point for it to continue down. So again, this makes sense for it. If that dollar is going to continue to strengthen, GBP USD should go down from here. So if all of these charts are sitting at these critical junctures, if they all just decide to break that this coming week, that is going to be something to watch. So really, I'll be watching to see if we break back up about that 50-period moving average, break through this trend line, and especially obviously if we break the high here. This is one of the weakest majors against the US dollar. So if this one does decide to suddenly strengthen, that would be a big clue as to what the dollar is going to do. Right, let's have a quick look at gold. Gold is currently range bound and attempting to make its way up to the top of the range. From a monthly perspective, it just continues to push high, even though it just is unable to close above that 3,300 level. From a weekly perspective, it looks relatively nice and bullish from last week's candle, and actually looks as though it wants to continue to push higher. Silver, on the other hand, is looking particularly bullish. Very nice trend, nice pullback into the moving averages, very nice bullish candle, which has produced a swing low, and the 50, 20, and 10 in a bullish formation, and the moving averages continuing, the momentum moving averages continuing to trend higher. So that's looking very nice and bullish. If we have a quick look at crude oil is not really offering any satisfying trends at the moment. It seems to have a longer term trend to the downside, but not really offering any high quality trend setups over here. So it just swings between being bullish and bearish, and so it's not very attractive for traders at this point in time. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a very nice trend to the upside, has also produced a nice bullish candle here near the moving averages, and is also hinting at a continuation to the upside. So silver, physical commodities as well as digital commodities hinting at possibly a bit of a bullish week up ahead. Now, if we go and have a look at the indices, we've got the Dow. The Dow is right below its key level of resistance, pulled back into the moving averages and produced a bullish candle. So if we break the high here, I'm expecting this to make another run for that a key level of resistance to test it. If we have a look at the S&P, which is now close to all-time highs, just points away from that. Again, we've pulled back into the moving averages, which are now in the correct formation, 50, 20, and 10, and we have this very strong bullish bar. So the markets are obviously quite bullish at the moment, and it's reasonable to expect them to continue. Looking at the NASDAQ as well, also closing up right near a few points away from all-time highs, continuing to look very, very bullish. And the quality of the trend, I might add, is looking particularly good. So signs of bullishness there. If we have a look at the FTSE, we move away from the US. Yes, we might, if we break the low here, might have a small correction back down towards the moving averages. But in every other respect, this is looking particularly bullish. So now if we've got a bit of a consolidation here with a little bit of bearish divergence, we may well have a small correction. I think the key thing here is to watch the high and the low of the weekly candle to see which one we break. If we have a look at the DAX again, bullish finish for the most part, right up at resistance. We'll see how that's going to play out. We are coming up towards September, ladies and gentlemen, which is seasonally or historically a very bearish month, and that could be triggered in the late half or the back half of August. We could see the market starting to have a bit of a correction. Just saying that this last week we did finish bullishly, and therefore continuation to the upside is not completely unwarranted. If we have a look at the Hang Seng, which is the last one on my list, you can see here a beautiful break and a retest and a nice little small bullish candle forming on the level of support with the 50, 20, and 10 in the correct formation. So typically this would be a nice potential bullish signal, especially if we break the high. So the markets did finish nicely and bullishly. Yes, there is some bearish divergence, and yes, seasonally we could be up for a correction, but the markets are not showing any signs of that this week, and therefore this coming week it is more likely we'll see a continuation to the upside. What I am looking for, which will be a big clue to that, would be a big, strong red finish for a week. That would then be the clue, and we'll see if that is going to happen this coming week. But for now, the markets appear more bullish than not bullish. And again, waiting for that US dollar to make a decision. We do have unemployment figures coming out of the US and sentiment. So let's see how that news, what that reveals about the current state of mind of the US economy. Thank you very much. Have a great week.